Hi, hello, welcome. My name is Emmeline and I'm so happy that you're back. Thank you so much for coming back. So today I'm actually really excited about this video because I'm actually going to America in January, which is literally 21 days from now. But I really needed to get my life together, and to me, the way I can get my life together is by planning out which books I want to bring with me to America, but also making a list of books that I want to buy while I'm in America. So that's what this video today is. I'll be choosing a few books from my own little library that I want to take with me, like, you know, to read on the plane or at the airport or whatever. And also I've made a list of some books that I really want to buy when we go shopping in America. So we are planning on going to a few little bookstores. Like we are planning on going to Barnes & Noble, some independent bookstores and Target, and a heap of other shops. Like, I'm so excited, it'll be really fun. I felt like I really needed to write a list of books that I need to buy. Well, I don't need to buy any of these. These are the books I really want to buy, and if I don't make this list, I will be spending all of my money on unnecessary things, and then I'll be like, oh no, I forgot to get all the books that I wanted, damn it. Okay, so if you can't already tell, I do base my entire life around books and which book I'm reading at a certain time and everything. So the books that I'm reading when I go to America, they need to represent my mindset. Does that make sense to anyone else, or is it just me? Because I feel like if I'm reading a really depressing book, I might have a bad flight. Do you know what I mean? Or if I'm reading a really happy book, it's gonna make me have a good time. Do you know what I mean? Or where I am is going to influence how I feel about the book. Does that happen to anyone else, or is it just me? Anyways, that is why it's crucial for me to choose which books I'm taking on the plane, especially because it's 30-hour travel time. I could smash out a few books in that time, so that's why I am bringing 4. You might be thinking, Emmeline, you are already struggling to get through your December TBR. How in the world are you going to read 4 books on a plane? I don't know. How would I know? You think I know the answer to that? I just, you know what? Here's the thing about me. I love to set a goal. But do I love to achieve that goal? Look, usually not. But I do love to set the goal. So I love setting goals. I'm just not as good as achieving the goals. But oh well. I say work with your strengths. Anyways, okay, so the 4 books I've chosen from my little library. The first one, you already, okay, if I could give you 3 seconds to guess, you could guess it. No one's surprised. Can I just say no one's surprised? I was actually tempted to not bring this just so no one could be surprised. Of course, are you kidding? Of course I'm going to be reading The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger on my way to New York City, where this book is set, because that's just perfect. I want to place myself into the set of this book, travel back in time, be in New York City, and just experience life, just like Holden Caulfield. And I just want to live my New York City dream. Are you kidding? So of course I'm going to be bringing Catcher in the Rye. It's my favorite book. Okay, The Catcher in the Rye is the only reread that I have. These books are all new. I haven't read them yet. The next book that I'm bringing on the plane is The Razor's Edge by W. Somerset Maugham. I think that's how you say it. I'm really sorry if it's wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm very excited to read this, actually. Can we just take a moment for the cover? The covers are always so beautiful on books, seriously. Okay, I'll just read what it's about. Larry Darrell is a young American in search of the absolute. The progress of his spiritual odyssey involves him with some of Maugham's most brilliant characters. His fiancée Isabel, whose choice between love and wealth has lifelong repercussions, and Elliot Templeton, her uncle, a classic expatriate snob. The most ambitious of Maugham's novels, this is also one of which Maugham himself plays a part, as he wanders in and out of the story, observing his characters struggling with their fates. Ooh, that sounds really intriguing. Wow. Yeah, I'm very excited to read this. I've seen a few really good reviews and it just like instantly made me want to buy it, and I have been searching for this book for so long. I have been searching at every bookstore I go to for so long, and I've looked on a few websites and they're either like very expensive, like $40+ or sold out, but I found it and I'm so happy. So yeah, definitely really want to read this in January. Hopefully on the plane would be great. The next book that I want to bring on the plane is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I have not read this and I have not watched the movie before, so I'm very excited to read it. I've been meaning to read it for so long, but you know when you just like really want to read a book or you really want to watch a movie and you just like put it off for so long? That's me with this book. So I'm going to make it a priority while I'm locked in a plane and have nothing else to do. I'm going to make it my priority to read this. Actually, I might read it first. That will have to be a decision for later on. Seriously, Emmeline, come on. Let me read the back of it for you. F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby brilliantly captures the disillusion of a society obsessed with wealth and status. Young, handsome, and fabulously rich, J. Gatsby appears to have it all. Yet he yearns for the one thing that will always be out of his reach, the absence of which renders his life of glittering parties and bright young things ultimately hollow. Gatsby's tragic pursuit of his dream is often cited as the great American novel. Now, if you did not know, F. Scott Fitzgerald is like low-key a horrible person because he did steal the work of his wife Zelda Fitzgerald, and he pretty much did manipulate her into believing that she was crazy, and then she did go to a mental hospital. And I just have to say justice for Zelda Fitzgerald because she deserves better, and F. Scott Fitzgerald stole her work, so technically this is The Great Gatsby by Zelda Fitzgerald. So I have one more book, but I noticed that the other 3 books I had were all classics. And you know, classics can be hard to read. I don't know, it's the language, it's just the way they're written. I think sometimes they are very slow paced often. I'm not sure about those ones actually, but often they tend to be quite slow paced. So I thought I need something that's very uplifting and fast paced, but also funny, and it will just be able to sort of pick me up when I'm feeling a little bit bored in one of the other books. If I do, I'm just, you know. But that is Raw by Cecelia Ahern. I was recommended to read this and it looks really interesting. It's a collection of short stories. It says a story for every woman, a story for every moment. So it's a collection of short stories. From what I've heard, it's very powerful feminism writing and just a very powerful story, and I'm very excited to read that. And I haven't read a collection of short stories for such a long time, so I'm very excited to read this, and I'm definitely going to make time to read this one. Yeah, so they are the 4 books that I really want to read on the plane to USA. Okay, very excitingly, now we can move on to the books that I really want to buy in America. This list is much longer than it should be, if I'm honest. So obviously I don't have any of these books with me because I am planning on buying them. So I'm just looking up the description on Storygraph, and you can definitely add me on there if you would like to. So yeah, I'm just going to be reading like the description and everything off of my laptop on Storygraph. Alright, the first book that I really want to buy is Exciting Times, and it is written by Naosie Dolan. It's a contemporary fiction. Now, contemporary fictions have really grown on me. Like when I first started getting back into reading, I was fully into romance and contemporary romance and books like that. But in just over probably about 2 years, I've really branched out a lot, and literary fiction and contemporary fiction are definitely my favorites at the moment. I'm definitely getting more into classics. My classics shelf is definitely growing. But yeah, I mean, it's changing all the time. And these are just the books that I'm really liking at the moment. So I'm going to keep finding books that have a similar sort of vibe. So, Exciting Times by Naosie Dolan. I'll read you the description. An intimate, bracingly intelligent debut novel about a millennial Irish expat who becomes entangled in a love triangle with a male banker and a female lawyer. Ooh. Ava, newly arrived in Hong Kong from Dublin, spends her days teaching English to rich children. Julian is a banker who likes to spend money on Ava, to have sex and discuss fluctuating currencies with her. But when she asks whether he loves her, he cannot say more than "I like you a great deal." Enter Edith, a Hong Kong-born lawyer, striking and ambitious. Edith takes Ava to the theatre and leaves her tulips in the hallway. Ava wants to be her, and wants her. And then Julian writes to tell Ava that he is coming back to Hong Kong. Should Ava return to the easy compatibility of her life with Julian, or take a leap into the unknown with Edith? Politically alert, heartbreakingly raw, and dryly funny, Exciting Times is thrillingly attuned to the great freedoms and greater uncertainties of modern love. In stylish, uncluttered prose, Naosie Dolan dissects the personal and financial transitions that make up a life, and announces herself as a singular new voice. Oh my god, that sounds incredible. Now, as I was reading it, I just remembered that a few people who I've seen rave about that book, they've said that if you've loved Normal People by Sally Rooney, you will love this. Next, we have a non-fiction memoir. I am also really loving memoirs at the moment as well. They are definitely creeping up into my favourites list. And the next one is Just Kids by Patti Smith. The themes are art, memoir, and music. Okay, I will just read the description for you. The legendary American artist offers a never-before-seen glimpse of her remarkable relationship with photographer Robert Mapplethorpe in the epochal days of New York City and the Chelsea Hotel in the late 60s and 70s. An honest and moving story of youth and friendship, Smith brings the same unique lyrical quality to Just Kids as she has to the rest of her formidable Smith brings the same unique lyrical quality to Just Kids as she has to the rest of her formidable... What? How do you say that? Formidable. Smith brings the same unique lyrical quality to Just Kids as she has to the rest of her formidable body of work. From her can't read. From her influential 1975 album Horses to her visual art and poetry. Yeah! I did it. I never thought I would get through that. Anyways, I probably completely butchered that description for you because I can't read. Welcome to my book club. The next book that I really want to read is Notes on Grief. This book really intrigued me because the author actually wrote it in hope and remembrance and sort of as a meditative form of grieving the loss of her own father. I'll read some of the description because it helps you sort of understand why it was written. As the COVID-19 pandemic raged around the world and kept Adichi and her family members separate from one another, her father succumbed unexpectedly to complications of kidney failure. And it's just sort of going through her story, and I find that interesting, and I know it's going to absolutely kill me because it's just going to be so sad. But you know what? My favourite type of literature, music, films, sad, depressing, that's for another day to discover that. Continuing on with the depressing theme, the next book I really want to read is A Matter of Death and Life. This is by Marilyn Yalom and Irvin D. Yalom. pretty sure they are husband and wife, and it's a non-fiction psychology self-help sort of book. And my best friend actually recommended this to me. She read it a while ago, like maybe about a year ago or something now, and she recommended it to me, and she told me that it's just a beautiful story because these people are on their deathbed, they're very old, and it's sort of them reflecting on their life. And it's really, the way that she explained it to me, it sort of seemed like when you're on your deathbed, you're not looking back thinking, oh, I wish I did that. You're thinking about the times that you did have and the activities that you did do and how special they were. And honestly, I need some eye-opening. I really think it could do me some good, so I really want to read this. The next one is another classic, and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And I watched the film of this and I loved it. Oh my god, it's such a great movie. And I've been wanting to read this book for so long, but similar story to The Razor's Edge, I can't find it anywhere. I cannot find that book to save my life. Like, I can't find it. So I'm really hoping that they have it somewhere in America. But I'm just so excited to read it. I'll read you the description. With these words, the reader is ushered into an isolated grey stone mansion on the windswept Cornish coast, as the second Mrs. Maxim de Winter recalls the chilling events that transpired as she began her new life as the young bride of a husband she barely knew. That's interesting. Oh, I'm so excited. I really, really want to read this book. Like I will read this book if it's the last thing that I do. The next book is called Bluets by Maggie Nelson. It's a memoir, poetry, essay collection, and I saw I think I saw a YouTube video like ages ago telling me about this book, and I just like literally fell in love, and I was like, oh my god, I have to read that. Let me read you the description. Suppose I were to begin by saying that I had fallen in love with a colour. Since 2009, when it first published, to today, Bluets has drawn scores of readers with its surprising insights into the emotional depths that make us most human. A lyrical, philosophical, and often explicit exploration of personal suffering and the limitations of vision and love as refracted through the colour blue, while folding in and responding to the divergent voices and preoccupations of such generative figures. Bluets further confirms Maggie Nelson's place within the pantheon of brilliant lyric essayists. Pretty much the video that I saw was just sort of explaining something along the lines that everything that happens within Maggie Nelson's life, whether it be happy, sad, very depressing, or extremely overwhelmingly happy, she is constantly relating it back to the colour blue. And I just thought, wow, that is so cool and so poetic. I really want to read that. Next is another memoir. I told you, they're just creeping in. I'm really enjoying them at the moment. And that is I Want to Die But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki. Now, this is seems very sad. Literally one of the major themes is sad. But let me read the description and it'll probably make a little bit more sense. The author is a successful young social media director at a publishing house when she begins seeing a psychiatrist about her, depression. She feels persistently low, anxious, endlessly self-doubting, but is also highly judgmental of others. She hides her feelings well at work and with friends, performing the calmness of her lifestyle demands. The effort is exhausting, overwhelming, and keeps her from forming deep relationships. This can't be normal. But if she's so hopeless, why can she always summon a yen for her favourite street food, the hot, spicy rice cake, tteokbokki? Is this just what life is like? Wow, that, same. I really want to read that, and I really want to try tteokbokki. I bet it's delicious. The next book is another literary fiction, and I have also been told that it is very similar to the legend Sally Rooney's novels, so of course it's on my TBR, and that is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. The description says, Following the breakout success of her critically acclaimed and award-winning novel Euphoria, Lily King returns with an unforgettable portrait of an artist as a young woman. Blindsided by her mother's sudden death and wrecked by a recent love affair, Casey Peabody has arrived in Massachusetts in the summer of 1997 without a plan. Her mail consists of wedding invitations and final notices from debt collectors. A former child golf prodigy, she now waits tables in Harvard Square and rents a tiny, mouldy room at the side of a garage where she works on the novel she's been writing for 6 years. At 31, Casey is still clutching onto something nearly all her old friends have let go of: the determination to live a creative life. When she falls for two very different men at the same time, her world fractures even more. Casey's fight to fulfill her creative ambitions and balance the conflicting demands of art and life is challenged in ways that push her to the brink. That sounds really good. It sounds like it'll be a little bit sad at the start, but apart from that, it sounds really happy and exciting and a very coming of age sort of story. Another contemporary fiction has made its way into this list, and that is Memorial by Brian Washington. I was sort of told that with this book, if you are wanting to get into literary fiction, you should read this. It's a very good way of getting into it, if that makes sense. I mean, I can't officially say it because I haven't read it yet, but I've seen a few people say that. I know Unkali, she is a YouTuber and she makes book videos similar to this, and this is one of her favourite books. She has constantly been recommending it like over and over again, and just watching her videos and seeing that, I've been like, yeah, add to cart, because I want to read that now. The description is: Benson and Mike are two young guys who live together in Houston. Mike is a Japanese-American chef at a Mexican restaurant and Benson's a black daycare teacher, and they've been together for a few years. Good years, but now they're not sure why they're still a couple. There's the sex, sure, and the meals Mike cooks for Benson, and well, they love each other. But when Mike finds out his estranged father is dying in Osaka, just as his Japanese mother arrived in Texas for a visit, Mike picks up and flies across the world to say goodbye. In Japan, he undergoes an extraordinary transformation, discovering the truth about his family and his past. Back home, Benson and his mother-in-law are stuck living together as unconventional roommates, an absurd domestic situation that ends up meaning more to each of them than they ever could have predicted. Without Mike's immediate pull, Benson begins to push outwards, realizing he might just know what he wants out of life and have the goods to get it. Both men will change in ways that will either make them stronger together or fracture everything they've ever known. And just maybe they'll all be okay in the end. That sounds good, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be a happy ending. I don't know about that one. Alright, the very last book that is on my to buy list in America that I really want to buy is Bunny, and this is a contemporary fiction, but it's a horror book. That scares me. I say that I don't like thrillers, but like I do. But they scare me. They scare me, so I don't like to read them, but when I'm reading them, I'm so interested and I can't stop reading them, so technically I do like them, but I will always say that I don't like them. Let me read the description. Getting into the MFA program at Warren University was supposed to transform her life, but Samantha hates it there. She hates the sinister slant of the golden afternoon light. She hates her dingy apartment and the flasher who hangs around outside. She hates the rumours of random beheadings in the downtown area, but she hates the bunnies most of all. Privileged, vapid, and unbearably perky, the only other members of her fiction writing class have formed a parasitic girl gang. Their ostentatious performative joy is the bane of Samantha's existence, until they invite her to join and dabble in the dark arts. What follows is one of the strangest stories I have ever encountered, one that is equal parts campy, snarky, and terrifying. It's an incredibly unique way to explore the creative process, female friendships, and the universal journey towards establishing selfhood and Mona Atwood pulls it off with biting humour. Endlessly dark and toxically sweet, Bunny is a burnt sugar horror show of violent delights and violent ends. I shouldn't be smiling because that sounds horrific, but in the best way possible. So there we go. So I have my 4 books that I really want to read on the plane, and my quite extravagant list of books that I want to buy in America. And honestly, this, like, making this video and talking about the books is just making me more excited. Like, it's honestly just adding fuel to the fire. There's nothing that makes me more excited of buying and reading books than talking about books. So I am so thankful for all of you who are watching my videos, who are liking and who are commenting. I thank you so much, and I love you all. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Like, I could honestly sit here for like 20 minutes saying how thankful I am, but I think you get it. I think you get it, and I don't think you need me to do that. But if you do, just let me know, because I will. But yes, thank you so much for watching. You know I appreciate it, and you know I love you so much. I am so excited. I can't wait to see it when I film my next video. Bye!